Yo, TikTok, we like these.
What's going on, everyone? Let's listen to some music before we get started. You can send your guest request immediately.
People. Raw, real on the beat, bro. Pass me the mic, let me throw down some heat, yo. I'ma talk about some peeps, though. Handing out facts, bringing receipts for the people. Throwing out shade, ain't nothing but hate. You're a lie, you're a fake, you're a cheap hoe. Now get out the way, the king is here, and his name is Raw Real, so take a seat, yo. This a masterclass, so people don't stop watching. And grab a pen and pad and listen up close, cause I'm about to make you a fan. Calling out these lies and pointing out the scams. It makes you feel good and it makes them look bad. But I don't give an ish, cause I ain't with that shit. But if you are, then you can make the list. The list to get you hit brings your views to zip 0. Call me a hero and give me a clap, cause I'm about to chase your ass off this app. And if you don't believe me, let's take a victory lap. Where's Shanta and Adam, the rats, behind their screens watching. And that's a fact. And that we do our stuff, and we don't look back. And if you don't believe me, go explore Dora. Ha! I thought you'd never ask. He's the man behind the cam with no pants and no undergarments. We ain't like them. 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 No, we ain't like them. We ain't like them. We ain't like. We ain't like them. We ain't like them. Yo, TikTok.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. This is part 2 of the part 1 that I hosted earlier today. But there's one thing that I realized. Shanta doesn't like listening to the creators who speak up against them. So I thought I might host a live, opening up the panel to the viewers and letting you share your experience with Shanta and giving your thoughts and opinions about them. And while y'all come up here and talk about Shanta, I'm going to eat my Jamaican patty, because it's so good. Extra spicy. Come on up. The boxes are open. Don't hold back. We do not stand with this person. Almost called her a chick. She ain't a chick. She's rotten. But I digress. We've seen this person far too long on this app being hypocritical, saying that they don't condone or promote any forms of homophobia, all that stuff. But the reality is that Shanta is a xenophobe, transphobe, homophobe, misogynist, misandrist,
Yeah, she
racist.
a, she a hairphobe too, cause only 2 of her pictures on show her natural length.
Yo, Ken, which one is the real Shanta? I don't even know anymore.
None of them.
None of them. She's fake, absolutely fake. All right. Not only is she fake, but she fools each and every one of her followers in making believe that that's what she actually looks like. She openly says to her followers that we're not smart people, and I guess she's right. What's up, Bella?
Hi, I haven't been up here since, that one time.
It's been a minute. Why don't you tell the people, while I enjoy my Jamaican patty, what your experience with Shanta has been?
Of course. I think this person is absolutely vile. I have recordings of her putting up I was wearing shorts and she zoomed in on my private area and she was making comments about my private area. It was so weird to me. She just gives me P3 vibes. She was talking about me for days, talking about having me go up there on her panel and wear lingerie and take off my robe and I guess show her what I have. I think she's weird. I'm sorry. Just the things that, and I'm more so referencing the sexual things that she'll say to people. I think it's kind of gross. I've heard her say, "Oh, like we would make such good babies. I want this person to beat up my poom poom. I don't wash my poom poom when I get home from being a janitor. I want them to beat it up until it's like black and purple." I don't know. It's just really inappropriate. Like you cater your whole entire platform to protecting kids, but you say the complete opposite. I mean, if any kid were watching that, live, I mean, it would be, detrimental to their, mental health, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that they are very hypocritical in what it is that they're trying to advocate for and the stuff that immediately comes out of their mouth. I do want to make a very quick announcement, though. Guys, continue to send up your invites. So, for those of you who didn't see it earlier, I hosted a live for about 45 minutes, all right, talking about the different faces of Shanta. And I ended up posting it immediately to my TikTok channel right afterwards. Lo and behold, within about 25 minutes, it got taken down for bullying and harassment. But I just want to say, when you tell the truth prevails. And I don't know if you can see the screenshot, but the content has been restored. So W Truth, L Shanta.
W Raw.
This Jamaican patty is so good. It is so good. And the spices,
I'm surprised you don't got no Rasta sauce with it, man.
if I did, I'd be regretting it tomorrow when I'm sitting on the porcelain bowl.
Did Shanta make it?
What do you mean, did Shanta make it?
I mean,
no,
she
the
says
patty?
that
Are
she
you
knows you're
kidding
your
me?
wife.
Oh, hell no. I wouldn't touch anything Shanta makes with a 10-foot pole. Absolutely wouldn't go near anything she has to offer. Avani, one of our favorite panelists, thank you so much for joining. What are your thoughts? What would you like to share today, Avani?
What's up? That Shanta isn't as big as she thinks she is. She's a very small fish in a very big pond, and let me just say this. The fact that you think that you're like a big dog here on TikTok with very, very small followers, which you bought, by the way. And you know how I know you bought them? Because I was watching your account and you dropped dramatically after you came after Christy. But magically the next day you had 300 new followers on your account. So let's really talk about it. You buy your followers, you buy your support. And I want to make something very clear. You want to come after me saying that I can't drag you. I sure did, and I did over and over again. My problem with you is that you have this big mouth, right? You have a big mouth, but when it's given in return, you want to play victim. You've been going on about all day. Today, you went all about how you never done nothing, you never said anything to anybody. Let me just say this. You act the way you act because you're irrelevant, and that's why you're trying to make yourself relevant. I was here before you, and I'm still here after, and I'm still getting bigger numbers than you. So that says a lot about you, not me.
Hey, W Avani in the chat. Big W. And I don't mean like little W. I mean like uppercase W Avani in the chat. I know it isn't easy to speak up against those who you may have cultivated a relationship with or maybe considered mutuals. But ultimately, I think that we couldn't be doing anything better by taking the trash out. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When you hang around people like Shanta and you stand 10 toes deep for Shanta, it takes away all credibility from your messaging and anything that you stand for, because quite literally, Shanta comes on this platform, claims to fight for women's rights and the protection of children, right? But then berates women, okay? Humiliates them, those who have been SA'd or who have been physically abused or psychologically abused, all right? Yeah, hold on. Then we have her being a misogynist towards somebody she doesn't like. So she calls this person a whole bunch of dirty names, talking about their body parts. I really think you are infatuated with that person's body parts, by the way, Shanta. I really, really do. The way and the volume and the velocity in which you speak about it, it's almost as if you have a desire to possess Christie's pum pum. Listen, I've never heard somebody talk about someone else's vajayjay so much the way that this person has. It only alludes me to draw to the conclusion that she is obsessed with it, she wants it, and she needs it. Rue, thank you for joining. How are you this evening, my love?
I am good. Thank you, Shane. How are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you so much for asking. What would you like to share about your experience with the truth?
So I myself personally have never spoken to Shanta, and I don't particularly want to because I've seen how she treats people that I would consider my friends on this app. But I think one thing that really bugs me about Shanta the most is the constant spouting of racial insults and racial comments. And the threats of doxing as well. It's like she's threatened to dox people that I would consider like myself friendly with on the platform, and yeah, that's like my biggest thing I've seen.
Let's be real. Like Shanta has not only been racist to other races out there, like other ethnicities, but she has shown extreme xenophobia. Right. But not only that, she's been racist to her own community. Ken being the primary victim of her vitriol. Ken, do you remember a time when she referred to you as a house N-word with a hard R?
Yep, and a cotton picker.
And a cotton picker. Now listen, I know you hold yourself with very high regard, right? You don't claim yourself to be a victim by any means necessary. You certainly stand firm in your belief that if you want something, you simply have to get up, go out and get it. But ultimately, how does it make you feel to have one of your own community members speak about you that way, or witnessing them speak about other community members in a similar fashion?
It's pretty disgusting. I mean, it's people like that. You just gotta leave them in the past, and once you forget about them, they become irrelevant. They sit. I mean, they just like people on the porch that got no jobs. The only thing they can do is watch in the audience and complain and look for negative stuff all the time. And she says she don't know what over oppressed mean. She know what that mean. That means sitting every day wondering and hoping for somebody to not to say anything negative about them. And I don't deal with over oppressed people that's in my community. That they don't have no future they thinking about, no goals or nothing. They just worry about and trying to compete against the person beside them that's in the same race.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. I think she's just a vile person. She holds no respect for any community out there, including the very own that she associates with. It's very clear that if you are not a Shanta warrior, you are an enemy of the state to Shanta. And she will send all of her little goons after you to talk bad about you, to try and dig up some fake dirt about you, and spread all kinds of rumors and lies. Can anyone tell me one thing that Shanta has substantiated, one claim? Does anybody have any evidence of Shanta substantiating any of their claims? I haven't seen it. I've been watching patiently on their YouTube channels. I've been asking for the video, but they don't seem to show it. We keep showing receipts, though. We keep showing receipts about their misogyny, misandry, transphobia, homophobia, racism, xenophobia, grifting. All the things that Shanta calls everybody, she seems to be doing it herself. Is Shanta indirectly calling herself out?
I think the only time I've ever seen Shanta use any evidence was when she pulled up a graph and she wasn't reading it right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she didn't know how to read that at all.
It's like, it's a shame because I remember when I first came on to like Debate Talk before all this like seemed to be happening. I can't remember if I've been on Shanta's panel, but I definitely had been in her lives before when she used to talk about the whole gender critical topic. And I used to actually enjoy what she said. But now it's kind of like I find myself unable to support even when she talks about that, purely because on the other stuff that she's doing, like how she acts when she's not talking about that, you know?
Rue, she got upset at me because I said that I didn't want to listen to her or kind of be in her circle because she become more toxic. Just because I said more toxic, now I'm an enemy of hers.
You said sweaty.
Sorry, guys. I'm just looking for a clip from a guest that I had on the panel earlier today. I did come across a screen recording of them on the Reddit. So if you just give me a moment, I'd love to play that for you. And it's not very long, but this gentleman is also part of the Black community. This gentleman expressed that they wanted to come up there and get a better understanding of what all was taking place because they were familiar about some of the content creators that Shanta was speaking on. So let's listen to about 13 seconds of Shanta going in on this individual.
Look at your face. You look like a silverback gorilla. You need to get your teeth fixed. Yeah, we will hear you when we see the bedroom. That's all we want to see. The bedroom. Bedroom.
This is how she speaks to her guests. She called this man a big black silverback. I find that ironic coming from the flatback silverback themselves.
And Shane, you know why she attacked him is because she got him confused about a guy she had on her panel last week that had a rainbow keyboard. She called him the G word.
Oh yeah, hold on. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but that was me. I gotta explain. Yeah, I just want to explain.
Yes. Please, Bear. Thank you so much for requesting again. Please explain your interaction with Shanta and how she handled that situation.
Okay, so
Their bedroom looks like that.
Sorry, go ahead.
She tried to false claim and say I was somebody that I wasn't. Say I was some dude that was on our panel. I lied and said I wasn't on the panel before. I was definitely on our panel before, but it wasn't. I knew it wasn't who she was talking about because I never turned my camera on half the time. The only time I turned my camera on was when she asked me. That was today. She said I had a rainbow keyboard. I don't have a rainbow keyboard. I showed her that I don't have a rainbow keyboard. And you know when you prove her wrong, she tries to like pivot to something else, and then you'll prove her wrong again, and she just automatically keeps moving the goalpost every single time. Like she tried to call me poor. She called me GAY. Said I like men. Said I lived in the hood. I don't live in the hood.
If you don't mind, I have another 35-second clip that I'd like to play of her speaking to you. Would that be all right?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, let's have a listen. 35 seconds, folks.
Bedroom and it looks like that. Never look like that. Dirty. Most Caribbean people have queen size and king size beds with your dirty ass bed. Your mattress that has bed bugs biting you fucking up. Look at you. Dirty ass bitch. Trying to flex on people. Shut the fuck up. And your locks need a retwist. Your locks need a retwist.
Molly with a retwist.
Your locks need a retwist and your black ass lips that looks like 3 a.m. underneath the bed with your boobs. You can see these, you ugly ass bitch looking like a roach underneath a microscope. Dirty ass King Kong in the face ass bitch. Shut the fuck up.
So this is how Shanta treats their guests. Obviously, Shanta is under the assumption that Bear is somebody else other than Bear and proceeds to berate him, throwing out misandrous comments about their hair, their hygiene, their looks. What does Shanta actually stand for again? Can anyone remind me what the hell Shanta actually does on this platform? Because I like to challenge ideas. That's what I like to do. I like to debate. I like to have respectful decorum, and I like to have intellectual conversations with people. I, quite frankly, am not concerned whether individuals like me, right? I'm more concerned about showing people the conversation. That's what I care. I care about challenging the idea. But Shanta's investment seems to be attacking the people that go to their panels. Why do you watch Shanta? I don't understand. But if anybody would like to share their experience, please send a request and come on up.
I'm just curious. Has
ahead,
this
Beth.
always been like this? Because when like I say, I haven't been around for very long, but when I first came in, Shanta did seem to talk about the gender critical stuff. So is this a relatively recent thing for Shanta, or?
I would say that Shanta has always held quite a radical point of view as it relates to the gender critical side or the right side of the political spectrum. I said this before, that individuals like myself and maybe others turned a blind eye to their poor behaviors, or the nasty and vile things that they would say about people that were in the communities in which we were trying to establish contact with and communication. And I think that to a certain degree, I just got fed up. I got fed up of not being invited to the table and having conversations with people because of my support for Shanta. And it's getting to the point where we're now talking more about each other than we're actually talking about the issues. So this is my final goodbye on the topic of Shanta. I have already deleted, and not deleted, but blocked all of Shanta's accounts, literally all of them. If you stand with Shanta, you stand with Shanta alone. You don't have my support. You will not be platformed by me. I will not go onto your platform. Because if you are somebody that comes on here and advocates for something wholesome, but then you go and you support someone like Shanta, who literally takes a shotgun to the idea that you're putting out there and blows it into a billion pieces. That's what happens when you side with someone like Shanta. So I don't want my message to be obliterated anymore by the vile things that Shanta says. No. I want people to take me seriously. And the only way that I can do that is to denounce people like Shanta. If y'all want to come up and air your grievance, please feel free.
And Raw, Shanta is the definition of why our community, I'm not going to say get the respect we need, get the support we need. You know, people like that, nobody wants to like help you if you always like acting this way. And you know, me, I don't support BLM or none of that because you know, being on my own for so long and finding my way, that stuff's blind to me. I don't talk about it. I don't engage in those conversations. But when people like this, you know, being in the same, you know, having the same color, I don't want everybody thinking we all the same. Like it's a lot of people know me on this app. I don't swing that way. I'm cool. I'm laid back. But if some people didn't know me and I was around her, they look at the same, you know, look at me the same as you know the way she
They paint
talks.
you with the same brush. They would say you're just as hateful and bigoted as the person you're standing next to. Now, I do want to point out some of the comments that are coming in, and I appreciate the comments that are coming in. If you don't feel comfortable coming up, I will read them and advocate for you. User Fly High Seth, I had a situation with her and she brought my family into it. You're not the only one. Shanta has spoken on my wife. Shanta has spoken on many other creators' family members, right? We know a lot of information about Shanta's family, but we walk with a lot more grace than Shanta does. I could literally go onto her panel and obliterate her with everything that I know. But I keep that information in my back pocket for a rainy day because I don't need to show all my cards, if you know what I mean. I like to play things strategically. But even more so, I refuse to stoop to Shanta's level, right? I refuse to do that. Another person wrote, Shanta had her followers call me. Bun, I'm sorry that happened to you. All right. It's very evident that not only has Shanta lost a few nuts, but she's roaming around with people who are also not very sharp. Ricky, thank you so much for joining. How are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing great, always blessed. What would you like to share about your experience with the truth?
I mean, the tooth was very angry with me today. I don't know why. I don't know if me calling her out or me telling her to turn on her camera triggered her. I'm not really sure, but she went after me, my husband, my family, just on and on and on. And all I did was ask her to turn on her camera. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm so happy you mentioned that because even on my worst days, I can still muster up the courage to show my face to my supporters.
Oh, I wasn't gonna they kept requesting me to turn on the camera, but I told her, I said, I'm not turning it on until you turn yours on, because I already know I'm pretty, so it's okay. But
That's a
I
fair
don't know why
request.
that matters. Like, I don't know why you have to look like a certain way for someone to like not be an ass to you.
well, I agree, but if she wants to, if she wants to go that avenue where it's all about looks, that's fine, but she better turn the camera on.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So
She actually said she was going to have one of her friends come up and post her picture instead of turning her camera on, which is bizarre, but
No, that's one of our friends photoshopped the pictures. That's why she only said that.
Also very anti-black. She had her followers come on my account, well, on my main account, because I'm currently banned for a week on there for life. But she had her followers go onto my account and called me a coon because I'm a black person. And when I called her, I was like, "That's crazy. You advocating for black people, right? Have your followers call black people coons."
Do you mind? Sorry, Bun. You're cutting in and out a little bit. If everyone else can mute, I'd greatly appreciate that. And if you could just speak a little bit closer to the microphone too as well. Thank you.
Is this better?
Yeah, Tiptoe, I'm going to put you on mute. All right.
So yeah, she had her followers call me that word. She also went through my page to find a photo where I wasn't looking my best. I think I had just broken up and was calling someone out for doing something. But she took the photo where I didn't look my best and she blasted it on her live and then had all her mods make it their profile picture mocking me. And I was like, why wouldn't you just grab a picture of me recently? Like, why did you scroll on my page? And she just wouldn't answer. And she kept telling me to turn on my camera when she couldn't do it herself.
she did.
She's a very, very scary woman. And I really do think she's a danger.
Oh yeah, me too.
Danger for TikTok. I don't think the way she's speaking about the issues she has issues with is safe. And yeah, she's just very scary. And I'm so sorry for anybody who's ever had to see her live, like ever, even if you just had to scroll past it. I'm so sorry. It's very, wow.
Well, Bun, I'm sorry that you had to be subject to that. It just further shows the cult-like mentality that Shanta and her followers have. I don't understand the obsession by trying to discredit somebody on the way that they look. When, case in point, many have said she's not even willing to come on camera upon request. Most of us who do come onto this platform, we show our face. And we do so because we want to show integrity, right? We want to, not only that, but we want to show sincerity and empathy in our messaging. We want to be able to connect with individuals outside of just a verbal conversation, but also having a visual aspect to see whether or not I'm taking you for a ride or whether what I'm saying is coming with, true, genuine feelings and thought and empathy. But I don't get that from Shanta. There have been moments, very few, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but there have been very few moments where Shanta has actually contributed to a conversation. But I would say that is very, very few and far in between. Tiptoe, yeah, come on up, thanks. I'm just going to mute you because there is some background noise.
She also had her followers tag me in weird post of Adora, I think is her name. Like it was like her followers were tagging me in like the weirdest, inappropriate things I've ever really seen. Like I had to block them. And I don't block people because I don't think blocking does anything. Anybody can just make a new account. But like it was to the point where I was blocking these people because they just wouldn't stop. It was very, very strange.
It's like, what kind of content creator are you when you're sending? And again, Shanta says they don't want to be a social media influencer. That's fine. You still do create content. You do put your face out there almost on a daily basis. But then what does that say about you when you have your entire fan base and following just chasing people who have opposing views or opinions away and harassing them? Quite literally tagging them in videos, calling them insults and attacking their personality or their looks. I mean, that's pretty low. Rue, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, just like on the topic of her, like I call it a cult, just for lack of a better word. It's like the only time I've ever been, like, had to appeal my live access being removed is when I was in a live talk. I can't remember whose live it was, but I was talking and they were talking about Shanta, and I had her live going on in the background, and I was reported, and then I knew it was her followers because the next day someone said, I thought I got your account suspended for a week.
Incredible.
And I was like, no, I won't appeal.
The lengths these people will go to. I mean, the allegations I've heard, all right, and the evidence that I've seen screenshots of one of their Shanta warriors confessing to making fake accounts to try and run some of us off the application.
Like, can I? Yeah. Um, who is Shanta? Like, what is going on here? Because, like, I hear about this, but I'm really like, is this just like a TikTok war, or is she really a dangerous woman?
She's a dangerous woman.
Yeah. So to give you some background on Shanta, Shanta has been on this app for about 4 years now, speaking about gender critical topics, speaking up against gender ideology. But I would say that I've only been on the app for about a year, and my experience with Shanta is that they do hold some very radical views. And for the longest time, I, along with others, turned a blind eye to that behavior. And unfortunately, it took a seat away from the discussion table that we so much thrive to be at. And we work hard to have these discussions. And so we were removed from that table because of our affiliation with people like Shanta. Shanta is very hypocritical because they will frequently say that they do not condone or promote any forms of bigotry, a hateful rhetoric, homophobia, transphobia, heterophobia. The list goes on. But then immediately after their disclaimer, they don't mind calling Big Ken over here a house N-word with a hard R. They have no issue calling Bayer a bunch of different misandrous things about their appearance. You have this person speaking about the LGBT community as though they are all comprised of P3DOs. You have them talking about women and berating them for their infertility, speaking about their genitalia, conjuring up lies, having their following create fake accounts to defame some of the other influencers who have been on here for a fraction of the time that she has, but has gained more notoriety than she has. So I would say that Shanta is absolutely dangerous to anybody who is looking to have a meaningful conversation with somebody who has opposing views, who will look at you and say, at least I can respect you, even though you have a different point of view. That's ultimately what I'm looking for. And I can't do that with people like Shanta on our side, putting C4 on our messaging and blowing it up with the things that they say and the things that they do.
I mean, don't forget the threats to docs and all of that as well.
The list goes on.
You want to hear my experience with her?
Please.
I'm 67-year-old great-grandma, and she knows this because I was in her panels. I used to support her like we all did. I went in there, and Christy, I was in there when that raid happened. Christy raid. I was in Christie's when she said it. I went straight into shitheads, and no one put anything like that in there. All they did was put Christy raid, and she's saying the N-word was put there. Well, that's a pack of crap. As it turned out, Christy come in, got abused badly by Shanta. So I went up and I said, no, this isn't right. You know, I told her that I was in both lives and she didn't want to hear it. She just paid out on me. Apparently me and Christy had got the same pum-pums cobwebbed. She picked on my husband's genitalia. She said I was the SLUT of Australia. She didn't touch my grandkids. I'll give her that. But the nasty putrid things what comes out of her mouth is disgusting. But I did get the last laugh on her. I said, at least I can keep my man for 52 years.
What?
Oh,
You know, Moonlight, I'm going to be inviting somebody who has been at the receiving end and in the spotlight of, you know, Shanta's vile hatred and vitriol. They're just switching accounts, but in the meantime, just hang tight. And I'm gonna introduce Goose.
Raw, I'm gonna drop.
Goose. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Raw, I'm gonna drop, but it's those people you let them say what they say and you just say they irrelevant. If you don't got nothing to say or anything, they don't have a leg to stand on to continue how Shanta is. That's just my last piece right there. But all right, big time, Jane.
Bless you, Ken. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop too. It's nice talking to you.
Likewise, Bear. Thank you, and I'm sorry for what you had to experience by this creator on this app, but we're all blocking Shanta, and so we're not going to allow their circle to come around individuals like this anymore. So, Bear, you want to give us a follow? We're more than happy to cultivate a safe space for you to enjoy some decent content.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Goose, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing this afternoon? Goose?
Sorry about that. Thanks for having me up here, Shane. I can't believe I'm actually a guest on your panel. And I just want people to kind of understand that, you know, even though, you know, we may have opposing views on things, I come onto these panels at times when there is something that is beyond, you know, our typical conversations of the trans topic, right? So Shanta is somebody who, you know, she came for me pretty hard. You know, I don't know, I don't really speak about it very often. I do have a video posted on my backup account of a live that Shanta hosted about me with my picture on the background, advocating for me to be essayed and impregnated by a black man with a large phallus. She denies that it ever happened, but I am thankful that somebody was in that live, recorded it, and sent it to me, and I have it, and it is posted on my backup account. She is the most vile excuse of a human. I won't even refer to her as a woman because I respect women too much to actually put her in that same category of people of like my mother and my wife, right? She has gotten to the point where it's almost like she's not even offensive anymore because she's so far over the line that it's hard to take what she says serious anymore. You know, it's the same rhetoric that she says. It's nothing new. You know, she doesn't debate people. She just attacks people on a personal level. She tries to break people down. And the fact that she says that she stands with women, right? And then she advocates for SA is fucking disgusting beyond anything else.
Beyond ridiculous, Goose.
Yep.
And anybody out there who is advocating for women's rights and who stands with this person, they are detrimental to your message. They are detrimental to your platform. People will not take you seriously. You will ultimately lose support. This is the self-destruction of Shanta. Do yourself a favor and distance yourself. It will be the best decision you ever make. Sorry, Goose. Go ahead if you want to add anything else, my friend.
No, no, no. That's all I had to say, Shane. I just wanted to air that out for anybody who, I don't know, was listening. Shanta as well, and all the people that support her. Just be aware, right? If you get up here and if you're brave enough to actually speak, you'll probably get blasted on her platform next. So that's all.
Yeah, and I mean we've all been at the receiving end of it, but I'd really like Christy to share her experience because Christy is the one ultimately who's been the biggest target in all of this. Christy ultimately asked her following to go to a Friendlies panel or live and show their support. And obviously this person being so out of touch and not technically inclined and not knowing social things, perceived this to be some sort of an attack on them. And as a result, proceeded to make these vicious, vile, disgusting, demeaning, dehumanizing attacks on somebody who's been on the platform for a fraction of the time and who has put in 10 times more work than Shanta has, and as a result, received more fruits from her labor. And Shanta is big mad. And so I'd like Christy to speak about how she's been feeling these past couple of weeks, being the center of attention of Shanta. All right. And all that, like, Christy's a very strong individual, but I'm pretty sure deep down inside, this is all affecting her. She is a human being, right? I'm affected by the things Shanta says. So I can imagine that Christy feels something inside as well. Christy, thank you for joining.
What's up, Shane? Listen, the way I look at it is this. Words only affect me from an individual that actually has value in my life. And the fact that she has no value in my life, I can take that with a grain of salt. I'm a pretty strong person. I'm rough around my edges, and I'm able to take a beating verbally because she is nothing, right? It does get to a point, though, where, when she makes accusations, again, we've heard them 1,000 times over and over. She's went in on me the hardest. The most vile, the grossest, the most aggressive, to the point where I'm almost want to dox myself because I have nothing to hide. And if people don't like me for who I am, I don't care, right? They could find me and find my number and call me. That's where I'm at. I don't protect my identity the way that she protects her identity. And I'm wondering why. What are you so protective over your identity for? Because something has to be going on. Is she angry that I have people that like to listen to me and watch? And is she pissed off that I have more viewers than her? I mean, is it really that? I mean, you're shaking your head, but think about it. Is it really that serious? Like, I look at it as if we're all advocating for something, even if people aren't on the same side, right? Like, I'm not angry that people get views. It doesn't make me angry. In fact, I use my Discord server to share my friends' lives so they can get views as well, because I want them to succeed too. So I look at it as like some weird, vindictive, vicious, jealous Les. That's what I think of. And I honestly, I have nothing to be jealous of. And I've said this 1,000 times. I'm a very boring person in real life. I don't really do a lot. I have my family, I have my job, I go travel, and I do some advocacy and some donation work in my personal time, and I come home. And that's really it. So there's really nothing that I have that she should be interested in wanting from me. But all I could say is she had me yesterday in my house pacing because I'm sitting here hearing that, I'm essaying my husband, that my children, I'm a caregiver, not a mother. I'm not Muslim. I allow my husband to bust another woman because I can't give him a son. And I say to myself, like, what filth as a nurse that she is, that she has to actually interact with with the public. She interacts with the public and has this anger and hatred towards people. And she's a public servant. And I find it to be a joke. It's laughable how you could sit here and work with people and feel like this all day long, you know? I don't carry that much hate because it's too heavy of a load. And honestly, I am done with her. I'm going to extend it out one more time. Kamisha, whenever you're ready to sit down with me and have lunch, it's my treat. Okay? I'm asking her for lunch. I'm not going to bring anybody. I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to stream it and I'm going to sit down in a restaurant and I'm going to wait for her to show up. But I know that she won't, because then I'm going to see her real face without the filters and without the lies and without the garbage. She'll never show up. I'm on camera. You could do a reverse image search on me. I'm not that hard to find. They already doxed me. I don't care. There's nothing there. But Kamisha, I'm only 15 minutes away from you, my friend. All I'd like to do is take you to lunch and figure out what you're so angry about for me, that you carry this with you all day long, that you woke up, you had one eye open this morning and said that I had a dirty, crusty poom poom. It was 8:50 in the morning. I was sleeping and resting. Dirty, filthy poom poom, and my husband has to bust and other women to try to give him a son. Strange. It's weird.
Very
So
bizarre behavior.
it is. It's bizarre. But I'm gonna just extend the invitation, and I'm gonna see any day she's ready to go. Aside from tomorrow, because it's my daughter's graduation, and I wouldn't miss that for her or anybody else. Any day she's ready, I'm willing to meet her in Brooklyn, wherever she wants to meet for lunch, and then we could end it and move on, because this is the last, and this is my word, the fucking last time, pardon my French, I'm gonna speak about this vile filth of a human being out of my mouth. Done.
Yeah, and I invite each and every one of the viewers and each and every one of the followers to do your own fact checking. Moving forward from today, this is like the rear view mirror for us, all right? We have far more important things to do. In 45 minutes, I've got to get onto a school board meeting to deliver a statement about Eric Peterson, aka Planet Peterson, and about the shitty things he's been doing with minors, all right? So I got to get off here in 45 minutes and do that, and then come back here and give you guys a report on the things that we're doing to get shitty people like this off the application, all right? When it comes to this person, what I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do is, anytime you see them live, calculate how many minutes they're actually talking about what's on their background versus the amount of time they're talking about us. While we're talking about the things that matter, all right, they'll be speaking about us. Please, for the time being, we don't want to know about it. We don't want to know what Shanta is saying about who, the vile and nasty things. We can't afford to be distracted at this point. There are people on this application who are taking advantage of vulnerable children. These children deserve our attention far more, all right, than people like this. There are women in countries such as Canada and the United States who are having their sex-based rights literally stripped away. But we're sitting here distracted, fighting over this person and the people that associate themselves with him. We don't have time anymore. We can't afford it. Time is too precious. I'm almost in my mid-40s. I don't have a lot of time left to advocate. I'd like to someday retire and enjoy life and be proud of the things that I've done. And when I look back, I want to make sure that the time that I'm looking at was spent advocating for things that were meaningful, and not time spent on individuals like this that mean nothing, that do not contribute to the cause, that do not have any integrity in what they say. So I'll just ask you, the viewers, to make your own decision and decide whether or not you want to follow somebody who is actually fighting for a cause, or someone who is fighting for their place on this app, to be known, to have recognition. Thank you so much.
And by the way, she's not a nurse, she's a janitor at a hospital.
Right.
No, she's a nurse.
Well, she's a
Can't
nurse.
you hear all that cleaning stuff behind her all the time? Her vacuums and shit going on? I used to watch her quite a while ago, and she used to say she was a janitor. And all that backing noise, that's
I
her
think she,
claiming things.
yeah, I think she said that satirically because people were seeing that she was a janitor. Like that started from the opposition.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, why was
Because
she
I've
saying?
known her ever since I was a liberal. I was literally when she came on TikTok. I've known her.
All right.
But she's actually a nurse. I don't know how. Don't ask me how. But she's
Yeah.
actually a nurse working in a
Oh.
hospital, which is crazy.
Yeah, because
Again, this is
based on the way that she talks about people and talks to people, I wouldn't want one of my loved ones or an elderly person in my family or anybody's family to be underneath that person's care.
Look at
No,
the
I
way
feel like
she
that would be
spoke to
very
this
scary.
elderly person.
Yeah, very
I
scary.
know.
And I mean, a nurse that can't read a graph.
Exactly. I do want to introduce Coco, and then we have some new panelists as well. Coco, thank you very much for joining. Christy, thank you for your message. Please stick around. Coco, what has been your experience with the truth?
Well, pick up yourself, Ra. I don't know why Kamisha doesn't like me. I still haven't gotten a real reason. I used to be really cool with her, super supportive, pretty loyal. She kind of flipped on me one day, had me in her background, said things that I actually agree with, like I'm a man and my husband's gay, and my brother is unaliving from AIDS, and which is not true. He has HIV. And just like heinous things came out of her mouth out of nowhere. And this is somebody I was supporting and got a lot of ridicule for like months for supporting, even though I knew subconsciously this person was like very deluded and just like a really crappy person. But I just felt like morally obligated to support this person. I don't know why. I was kind of new to the app, so maybe that's kind of the problem there. But yeah, she's just absolutely diabolical. Everything that comes out of her mouth is a joke. I think everything's for shock value. I don't think she really means the things she says. I think she's completely contradicts protecting women and children, people that support her, which is probably like 4 people. And 3 out of 4 of them are probably intimidated by her. Everybody else just takes her as a joke and just views her like her lives like they would a Doris. Nobody takes it serious. They just go there, like get their laughs and screen recordings and screenshots and leaves. They're all just a bunch of hypocrites.
You can't take someone like Shanta seriously when she says she advocates for women, all right? And then she makes fun of somebody's physical abuse or says that someone should get SA'd. Like, where's the integrity in that? Where's the consistency in that message? Right? I mean, as much as I hate to say it, when I'm fighting for women's rights, that includes Shanta. Right? I don't care that she doesn't like me, and I don't care that she hates me. I don't care about those things. I ultimately care about the safety of all women, including the shitty ones, like Shanta. And we really need to distance ourselves from people like that. Really, really, really. Those aren't good people. Those make all of us look bad. Coco, thank you for sharing. Please stick around. Haley, thank you for coming up on here. I know you and I, in our past, have not really agreed or gotten along, but I think this is something where a bridge could be potentially built in that we agree that Shanta is dangerous and detrimental to any conversation.
Yeah, for sure. My first encounter with Shanta was crazy. This was well over 1.5 years ago. And she ended up doxing me. I'm sure most people here know this if they've been watching long enough. And she did it in the most horrible way. She put up this fallacious article written about me, which I then had to go on live stream and debunk with medical records. She said that I had HIV and hepatitis and all these things, which this article does actually say. I had to go to my doctors and get blood tests to prove that I don't have these things. Because, if you have them, they never leave your system, right? So I had to prove that I didn't have these. And, she said that I was SA'd as a child, which is why I was trans. And, she said some of the most horrible things about me.
And, I've been watching her do, and not just to me, it's been to many of us on this panel right now, including Ivani, who, we don't get along, but she's come for Ivani as well. She's come for Christy, Coco. I don't know who the other two are. Sorry. Hi. But, but yeah, I know that Shanta just comes on this app just to make people feel like the tiniest piece of nothing. That's her job on this app. I'm convinced she's not on here for advocacy. I've never really seen her doing advocacy. I've seen her just rubbishing people, making them feel like a tiny piece of shit. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I've had some horrible experiences with her. She even called me the N slur. I'm like, girl, like, I'm convinced she's just trying to throw out every slur she can think of just to be, controversial, or
Rob,
I
can I
mean,
just say something like 2 seconds and I'll go on mute? My first, and I told Haley this, my first disagreement with her and her panel when they ripped me to shreds was when I said she for Haley, right? Because I'm not gender critical. And like this was months ago, like 6 months ago, and they like ripped me to shreds on the panel, tried to force me to say he, and that's really where me and Shanta had this disagreement, because I'm like, you're not going to have me like force language, just like I wouldn't tell you what to call a trans woman, like you can say he, but like in this context of language, I'm using she and her. And that's when I noticed like a huge switch with Shanta. Like she went like very nasty with me. And me and Haley are not like friends. Like I didn't need to defend her, but that's when I noticed like a huge switch with her.
yeah, and look, Coco's even apologized for the stuff she said about me as well. So, we've moved past that. I'm not someone who holds a grudge, but so my experience with Shanta was her doxing me in front of many people. And I actually didn't even know much about her until I seen my picture on her background. I just ended my live stream. She took a screenshot from that live stream, put it on her background. And at this time, I was blowing up on the algorithm. And so, people saw my picture and they were going into her live. And it was almost like she was doing it for clout. And it was just weird. And then when I called her out on it, that's when she started hunting for information on me. She found that article from like nearly 15 years ago. And she ran with it. And so, yeah, I literally had to go on live stream and show medical records that I don't have these diseases, just to appease people, because my DMs were blowing up with people, just attacking me and saying I don't know, it was horrible. So
yeah, and the reality is that like people are very irresponsible with information that they come across, and I've been guilty of this myself, with simply running with a headline, or not looking into a study in its entirety and having a good understanding. But the reality is that's different. Like, to be misinformed in a debate versus saying or making up allegations about somebody that could potentially ruin their livelihood. A lot of us do suffer from, mental health issues, and adding that on top of what you are already managing on a day-to-day basis can be detrimental. We've seen examples of this with a content creator who was on this app, rest in peace, the Inquisitor. And there were individuals on here who were making wild claims that he was essaying people, or that he was a P3DO. This gentleman ended up taking his life. All right, I want to be very clear about that. Like, some of us are strong-willed, and some of us, have backbone and strong characters, but not everybody does. Like, I don't mind putting my face out here because I feel as though that I'm strong enough to do so. But sometimes people just want to come onto your panel to connect with you, and if you berate them, you have no idea who you're targeting with your words and what impact that's going to have once they get off this app. And quite frankly, I don't think Shanta cares what her words do to people, or even the harassment that she sends her goons to do to people who have an opposing view. I mean, it's uncalled for, irresponsible, and the reality is somebody could really get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, I've got pretty thick skin too. It takes a lot for me to get riled up and offended, so to speak. But Shanta, it's the stuff she's done to everyone else as well. It literally is just, it's made me sick. I'm like, she is disgusting. I don't know how anyone ever supported her, but hey, which means whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, I appreciate
anyway, that's my 2 cents.
I appreciate you sharing that. Feel free to stick around.
Cave, I'll make room for someone else.
I appreciate you. Cave, thank you so much for joining. You also have been put in a situation which I deem to be very dangerous. I believe that Shanta tried to dox you. Not only did they fail in that attempt, but they painted you out to be somebody that you are not. And I'm just wondering, like, what was your experience, having gone through all of that and all of the, fake accusations and allegations and all that fake doxing? I mean, that must have taken its toll on you.
Oh yeah, I have kind of stepped away from going after her just because it's gotten so bad. But so basically, when I was just a person that came up against her on the panel once, and then she said some absolutely vile things, like refusing to believe that I wasn't SA'd as a child by a family member. When I said that I wasn't, she was telling me that I was lying. And that it was definitely true. I was definitely SA'd, which was just disgusting. And as a lot of people know, I just decided to, just make fun of her by creating some walrus AI images and sharing them around, which got a little bit popular. And that really rattled her. So she decided to make up a rumor that I was a P3DO. She doubled down on the rumor, saying that she has my police records, which you can't get in Australia. That you just can't get people's police records; they're not public record. Then she started making up more stories about the age of the person, how long I was in prison for, and all things. So these were all just made up stories, and quite a lot of people, rather than kind of asking her to show the proof that she had, was jumping on it to say that I need to prove that I'm not a P3DO, which was just disgusting, because that would require me to dox myself to prove that, which I was just not prepared to do, just for the sake of someone making up rumors. If anyone mentions Cave near her, she will just continue to spout this story even now, when I haven't really had anything to do with her for months. And she would bring it up, and now claiming that because of these, what was it, the last thing? She said that because I have all these, like, I've been in jail and stuff like that, like my surrogacy journey with my partner has to be done overseas because of all of these records, and we can't do it in Australia and stuff like that, which is just, she's just continuing on this lie. She now is claiming she has my address and my house, and that she's going to dox me and show everything, which is just, it's all insane, only because I made these images of her. I've done nothing, and she doesn't even know my real name. She's also put photos of me on the background all day, saying I'm a P3DO. She's put photos of someone else that's not even me or looks anything like me on the background, claiming that it's me. And yeah, it's just insane. She just keeps going and going and going.
It's ridiculous to think that we would live in a world where someone could start a rumor about you, and then you would have to come and disprove their claim. That's not how it works. When you go to court, people, and there are charges that are laid against you, it's because there is substantiating evidence to support the charges, right? Ultimately, when people just come on here and say that this person is a this or that person is a that, simply because they don't like you and they don't ever substantiate their claims, yeah, it's for a reason. It's because we've called them out on their bullshit, right? And the only thing that they can do is scream about it. That's the only thing that they can do. Cave, thank you very much for joining. I appreciate that. Please stick around for final thoughts. Doxy, thank you so much for joining. How are you this evening?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm always blessed. Thank you very much for asking. What's been your experience with Shanta?
Well, I have managed to stay off of her radar. I tend to watch a lot, but back around the time that she was targeting Goose and Haley, some of the younger trans people, were really trying to defend some of their mentors, some of the people that they looked up to. And I spent a lot of time in a specific Discord just trying to get them to understand how they can lock down their profiles, because what would happen is they would go in and defend in the comments, and then all of the supporters would follow them and then follow them around to lives and harass them. So getting them to lock down their profiles to have a bit more privacy. And there were a lot of VCs, because some of the younger people did end up on her background, and their skin wasn't as thick. So you had talked a lot about the mental health, and for some of the younger ones, we had some crises because they went in to try to defend someone in their community and were absolutely shredded and called all the things, and looks were picked apart. And yeah, there was a lot of behind the scenes work that was done, and just trying to convince them, create a backup account, just go in and report it. We got her taken down a few times. But it was never for long. But I just wanted to address, like I said, as you had pointed out, the mental health aspect of it. And there were quite a few crises because of the way that she talked about people and the disgusting accusations. The fact that she refers to the community as deviants and perverts, and takes time, so much time, to go into graphic detail about things and people's parts and people's extracurricular activities, and they're all made up, but the horrific graphic details.
Yeah, like any normal person wouldn't be thinking of those things on the regular, right? Like I don't think about saying vile things like that. Those thoughts don't come across my mind. But ultimately, you're right. Shanta is a danger to people who watch her and who expose themselves to her, especially if you're part of any community that Shanta speaks against, because they will speak about you and your community without knowing a single thing about you. And they will paint you with the same brush. And I just find it hypocritical that there are those within that community who do support her. Because ultimately it's like you're saying, yeah, Shanta, that community are a bunch of P3DOs. Me being one of them, and then putting that label on yourself. Like how could you want to associate with somebody who has that point of view, about a group of individuals who have only proven themselves to be contributing factors to society. So I don't get it. Like, I understand there are issues to argue about, but when you are attacking people on a personal level, you've gone too far. We can agree to disagree. We can have different points of views. We can have different opinions, and you must employ tact when having those discussions, right? Because they're uncomfortable discussions to have, but nonetheless, they're necessary. And if you choose to walk the line where you are throwing insults at people, people will no longer want to have discussions with you.
As a Gen X queer woman, we were having similar discussions 30 years ago. We didn't have the internet. It wasn't as bad, but I lost jobs because they found out I was a queer woman. I lost jobs because I was, deemed a dangerous person to be in female spaces. And I understand that there are a lot of concerns, and I get it, and I'm not advocating for or against a whole lot at this point. I've listened to a lot of people on both sides, and I understand the concerns, but I was painted as a deviant, if you will. And that's when I explained the community. It's not Supermom, honey, you got an echo. As a deviant, if you will.
Yeah, Supermom, do you mind disconnecting and welcome back?
when I explain the community, I explain that rarely is it a physical community. We became a community because society as a whole didn't like who we loved or how we expressed ourselves. And it just kind of made us into a community, but it was all under the guise of being complete deviants. And the vast majority of us, have jobs and kids and taxes and pets and, just live our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And for this to come full circle and her to continue that narrative, if you will, while going into disgusting detail about people's sex lives and genitalia is absurd to me.
I agree. Thank you, Doxy, for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to go away for a couple minutes in 20 minutes. So I'm going to get to Bentley, then I'm going to get to Traditionalist, and then we're going to wrap it up with a round of final thoughts from everybody on the panel. I want to thank each and every one of you who did participate, who liked, shared, followed, gifted in support of today's live. I will be posting this on YouTube as well as on this channel. And I want to thank each and every one of the individuals that came up and shared their experience with Shanta, because I think it's important for those who have not encountered her, what you can expect. And you may want to safeguard yourself from individuals like that. Bentley, thank you so much for joining. What has been your experience with this creator, Shanta?
She accused me of being, I know I can't say it on here, the P word. To everyone on her live with zero evidence, and for some reason everyone believed her on a lie. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, because there was zero evidence. And she's mocked people with HIV, and all the time on her live she posts articles about gay people who have sexually, children. She never does it about straight people. She only posts about gay people. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they need to be exposed, but obviously she has an agenda to make hate against gay people and to paint them as like predators.
That is exactly what her message is, and she repeats that over and over again, and I find it very hypocritical because there are members in her family who associate with her or in the community, excuse me. There are members on this platform within that community who have showed support, and it's mind-boggling to me that you would stand with somebody who speaks about your community in that way. Yes, there are things that should be called out, but it should be done with respect. You should address the issue, not the individual speaking about it. Bentley, thank you so much for joining. Traditionalist, thank you for hopping on. What's been your experience with Shanta?
I thought she was one of the gays.
You thought she was a lesbian?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many different options in the LGBTQ community. I thought she was one of them. My experience typically, she argues in favor of the LGBTQ community.
Oh no, she doesn't. She argues against it, and she says some pretty bad things.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's you can go to my YouTube channel. There's a link in the link tree in the bio. We have the call out live where we've exposed her racism, bigotry, misandry, misogyny, transphobia, homophobia.
Maybe it's a different Shanta. Maybe it's a different Shanta I'm thinking of. Perhaps.
Which Shanta do you think it is?
I don't know. I just know a round-faced, darker, kind of light-skinned complexion lady. Did she used to have a Muppet profile picture?
No.
Okay, then it's a different Shanta. Okay. Wrong person. My apologies, y'all.
No worries. You're good. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. Shenanigans, thanks for joining. After you, I'll be wrapping up with final thoughts. So please feel free to tell us your thoughts about this individual.
Yeah, I just thought I'd pop in and let you know. So my first experience with her was when I first came on this app. I just like would come into these lives where like people like they were just like beefing back and forth, but she would say some like seriously like horrible things about people, right? So I was put off like right away, and then I just like went about my thing or whatever. And then a few months ago, I held a live, and it ended up being a trans live or whatever, and it went on for like I don't know 18 hours or something, and then afterwards, after everything died down, it was like late into the night, like probably like 2 o'clock in the morning my time, and me and another person were just sitting there talking and shooting the shit. And can't remember what we were talking about, but Shanta's name came up, and yeah, and it was mentioned for like maybe 2 minutes in the conversation or whatever, and then the next day I was getting DM'd by all these people being called in into her live. And yeah, so I went in and she tried to call me out, like you said about like mentioning her name and all of this. And I just didn't really feed into it. I was just like, well, you're on the internet like doing lives and stuff, like you can't really expect people to not ever not say your name. You know what I mean? Like if you put yourself on the internet, people are gonna mention you from time to time, right? But whatever. And then that was it. So I don't think I think she's a horrible person. I just think, you know what I mean? She could go about what she's doing in a lot more different ways, more productive ways. And yeah, I think it's just distasteful.
I agree, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with that harassment. It seems a pattern that people who disagree with Shanta, they ultimately get harassed by her goons. But lo and behold, there's really nothing to be afraid of with this group of little pick-me bullies. All right, that's all they are. But I thank you very much for sharing.
No problem.
And have a wonderful evening. Chelsea, thank you
you're
so
well,
much.
hon.
I appreciate you. Chelsea, thank you for joining. What are your thoughts on Shanta, the truth?
I think people who are in Christie's Discord have known that from the jump, from the moment I've witnessed Shanta, I knew it was going to be bad news. There is always a way and an approach to go about certain things, certain topics. I think everyone from the gender critical side to the trans radical side can agree that Shanta is a problem. Like, I'm sorry, but like people who have come up here who are clear ops to us have all said the same thing. And I just think that after today, all this gotta stop. The TikTok drama, the BS, it's all gotta stop. Because we're in June. We are 5 months out from the election, less than 5 months out from the US presidential election, the US House of Representatives election, the US Senate elections. And we are sitting here doxing each other and like literally lives week after week, day after day. It's been the same thing. And I've tried to be neutral, but now it's caused people to dox people that say W Christie or W Shant. Like, it's too far.
Yep.
And I think that people who are twice my age, no offense, guys, but I think people who are twice my age should really get it together. It's just there's a bigger movement behind us, and honestly, I just think from the jump, Shanta just got hurt that she didn't get as popular as Christy did, or as you did, or as Envy did. Like, I just think that's what it is. It's okay. And sometimes you're not going to be TikTok famous, but Shanta also has to realize the way she is coming across to majority of people, it is toxic, it is problematic. And because she claims herself as the queen of the gender criticals, everyone who is gender critical looks bad because of her. And frankly, I don't need to look bad because she is doing too much. We can all say trans women are men, trans men are women, and you can disagree with that, but we don't need to start saying all this homophobic, xenophobic, racist garbage because it doesn't do anything. Shanta, I just think take a break, take a lap and move on. Really. Cuz it's not doing anything for nobody. It's so exhausting because now people who were neutral are now being impacted. Like, why am I losing friends because of this nonsense? Impacted. I'm getting tagged every second on the hour. So and so is live. We need to go report. So and so is live. We need to go report. XYZ. I'm tired. I'm tired. Everyone, let's get back to the mission, because while we are over here arguing, Lily Tino is trying to be Miss Rachel. But we can't
Yep.
even have those lives because people are reporting. It's too much. But yes, I am going to go enjoy the rest of my day. I just wanted to say my piece, and I hope when I wake up tomorrow morning, we are fighting for the cause. We are fighting the good fight. We are focusing on the elections. I know I'm going to go host a live tomorrow about the elections, because I'm truly concerned that this country or Canada or whoever, it seemed like the world is going to crumble at any point. So I want to
Mhm.
focus on trying to save what little world we have. So yeah, thank you for having me up. To
Thank
the
you for
panel,
coming.
stay safe, stay
Yes,
blessed, and
bless you. Thank
please,
you so much for sharing,
for the love of
Chelsea.
God, stop doxing, because it's really getting out of hand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tomorrow's a brand new day. We've got other and bigger things to tackle, and we're leaving these people in our rearview mirror. Chaos, thank you so much for joining. What are your thoughts?
Hey, thanks for having me up. So I used to be on the very extreme left, like a Dora supporter, all of that fun stuff, until I decided to wake up and do my own research. And that's when I came across Christy, Shanta, Avani, like people like that, and people that were going from like kind of the left to the right. Shanta, I've not been targeted by her. I'm usually pretty quiet, and I stay in the background and I help with certain things. But the way that she talks about people, and even today when I was watching her live, the way that she is, just ripping people down, and the way that she's gone after you and Christy and Coco and everyone else, like I've watched all of it, is terrible. And I thought it was really funny today that she said, she kept denying, who she is. And, all people have, all of us here have that kind of teeth and blah, blah, blah. It was just sad. Like, it's really gotten to a pathetic point. Um, and all of the people that are blindly following her, like, I hope they wake up at some point. Um, and I just can't wait for debate talk to get back to debate talk, and for advocacy to be advocacy. Like, I honestly couldn't believe that she's like, oh, I started saying this and now saying that. And then now they're saying that. I started saying oop and now they're saying it. And I'm like, girl, I'm gonna need for you to take several seats. Like, yeah. It's just the thing she says makes everyone look bad on this side, on every side, honestly. Um, and I'm just excited for things to get back to normal.
Yeah, and you know what, guys? I just want to make a statement. I see what's going on in the comments, and they're trying to come over here and they're trying to silence the people who want to share their experience with Shanta, right? They're literally trying to come over here, all right? The ones that were trying to raise their voices, amplify their voices, all right? Raise concern about the behaviors that this person portrays. And they're coming in here trying to harass this live, but you can't suppress the truth. This is their story, Shanta. If anything, you should be sitting there listening to what these people are saying about their experience with you. If you want to grow and you want to get better, which I don't suspect you do, but if you do, you want to listen. So stop sending your little goons over here, your little Shanta warriors. We're not afraid of them. You can sit behind your screens and watch, all right? Because after today, that's all you're going to get. Supermom, thank you so much for joining. Everybody else, put yourself on mute, including myself, because I know that they have a bit of an...
Okay, sorry guys about earlier. I wasn't trying to cause issue. I have to be honest, I've never been on Shanta's radar. Prayerfully, thank the Lord I've never, but I pop into her lives and I sit back and I listen and literally my skin crawls. Like, you can't sit here and advocate for one group or another. I don't give a shit what side of the wall we're on. You can't sit here and try to be an advocate and then turn around and degrade people in the same sentence. And when anybody like you, she would have she has conversations, but as soon as she trips up, she starts doing personal attack. So my question is, Shanta, who hurt you? Who stepped on you? Who made you feel less than? Why are you taking your anger with what happened to you out on the rest of us? That's what I want to know. I mean, I think I've heard her say some decent things, but I've heard her say more vile, nasty things than I've ever heard her say positive. I want to know who hurt you. I want to know how we can let me just put it out there. How can I help you, Shanta? I'm not on your radar. How can I help you? How can I help you to not feel so hurt? To not feel so rejected or whatever it is that you're feeling? How can I help you? My inbox is open. That's all I have to say. If anybody needs support, love, or a hug, Big Mom's box is open.
Thank you, Supermom. I appreciate you joining and sharing that with everybody. Just Facts, thank you for joining. What are your thoughts? And thank you for your patience.
Hi, yeah, this is Lucho, aka X Files. I just wanted to explain from when I first started following Shanta is when Tashika Baby Bop came on TikTok. I'd say a year and a half ago, I'm not sure. And she was on, our side. And she would have these lives and basically I think she did made Baby Bop look disingenuous and also kind of won that debate. And from there on, I followed Shanta, and she would go to like Adora, and then she would go to like different ops that we all know as ops who are streamers. But she would leave it alone, like maybe after a day or two, and she wouldn't be as nasty as she has been lately in these past months. Now, that went on for a while, and it wasn't until I believe, this is my theory, I've said it before, that Christy was going to do a live about women, and she was going to have two people come up from being indigenous and black culture, race. And she was promoting it for like the next day. That's the same day that Christy also was ending her live. Wasn't live the day before or the day before that. Just got her account. Said who's live, and they mentioned two people. And the last one she mentioned was Jasmine. But then why would she want us to go there to make her room more popular? She said, someone said Shanta's live, so go to Shanta's. So everyone either went to Shanta's or just went scrolling on TikTok or got off the app. Then 6 to 7 hours later, Shanta's going on a rate saying that, according to her, somebody in her chat dropped an N-word and she started blaming Christy's raid. Then later on said it was Christy herself using an account. Which one was it, right? No, it's lies. But the difference is that Shanta, to me, seemed like she was having a nervous breakdown, like a literal severe panic attack while that first live was going on. This is the first time she went up against anybody that was not the op. She's never gone after like you, Cutie Pie, Cuddlefish, Envy. I think that either she got a whiff of people telling her that Chrissy's gonna go with the black indigenous type issue, and it got to her, because her views were really down. And then she just made a fool of herself and went on a tangent and just started becoming more nastier than ever. I mean, it was beyond words. We all seen it. And from then there, she's just been doing the same thing. And for the past month, anybody can go in the live that's a streamer or has a strong following, is well known with a name, and somehow Christy comes right out of her mouth when no one's ever mentioned it. That is like,
it's obsessed much vibes, right?
It's fucking crazy. It's insane. It's scary. I mean,
it gives me obsessed vibes for sure.
Man, it is.
I don't mean to cut you off, Lucho, and I do appreciate you sharing. I do have to get to a very important call in about a minute, but I do want to give Bella an opportunity as a returning guest to say something before I wrap it up and finally close the door and chapter on what is to be Shanta. I denounce Shanta. I denounce anybody who supports Shanta. You have to draw a line in the sand at some point. All right. We don't ride with these people. We don't associate. We don't affiliate. And we certainly don't want to procreate with individuals like Shanta. All right. They're little hateful, bigoted trolls running around the TikTok universe without their cameras on because they are afraid. They are afraid to be called out for the bigoted things that they say. They're afraid to be identified in real life and suffer any real life consequences for all the shitty things that they say. All right. At the end of the day, if you want to follow a creator who is challenging ideas and not throwing insults and slurs at people. All right. There's no value in that. All right. There's only value in people having honest, respectful decorum and conversation. Bella, thank you so much for your patience and thank you for coming back up. What are your final thoughts about Shanta?
Yes, sorry, I got a phone call earlier. I think that the big word that comes to mind is representation. I mean, this person claims to be pro women, pro kids, but we're so quick to overlook the sexual violence that this person promotes on their lives. I mean, the way that this person talks about people's private parts and is just so violent about it. And the way that she talks about her own private parts, it's just disgusting, honestly. I mean, you can't claim to be pro kids. I mean, whether we like it or not, kids are listening to us, kids are watching our platform, and so are women. So, and we have a very important thing going on here. I mean, we are sitting here calling out this ideology, and we have this person setting us back. Enough is enough. No means no. I mean, the things that she has said to people like Cave Troll or Nades or even Christy, for instance, I might not like all of these people, but we have to draw the line in the sand. This is ridiculous. It's too far, too much excusing their behavior. I would even make the claim that, we are so quick to excuse the behavior because she is a woman, because imagine if a man was saying all of this, we would be up in arms. The things that she has said about people's poom-pooms in private areas, and she wants to send people to inspect.
Can you imagine? That's a valid point. Can you imagine if I came on this application and I said the exact same things to the exact same people, all right? I would be chased off this app in a moment.
yeah.
They would dox me immediately. They'd ruin my life. But why Shanta gets a hall pass is beyond me. Bella, thank you so much for coming up and joining. I do have a very hard stop, but I will leave you with this very precious gift, and this is what I think of Shanta. Hold on. Let me turn this back on. I promise you will enjoy this. And I think you already know what I'm about to play. But this is what I think of you, Shanta.
Whoa, that's a loud fart. Whoa, that's a loud fart. Whoa, that's a loud fart.
You are a loud and stinky fart. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. Have a blessed night. Spend some time with your loved ones. And I hope you're looking forward to the next couple of lives that we'll be hosting, which are all educational and pointing out problematic individuals. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.